The storm on Corvallis 7 had finally passed, leaving behind broken trees and scattered rocks across the gray landscape. Daehyun walked carefully through the muddy ground, his boots sinking with each step. The research station stood behind him, a small metal building that looked tiny against the vast wilderness of this hostile planet. "Stay close," Hana said through the radio. She was the security officer, always worried about keeping everyone safe. "We detected something big about 200 meters ahead." Daehyun nodded even though she couldn't see him. He was a xenobiologist, which meant he studied alien life forms. This planet was full of dangerous creatures, but that was exactly why he was here. Understanding them was his job. When he reached the location, he stopped and stared. A massive creature lay dead on the ground. It was a Corvallis Ravager, one of the most feared predators in this sector of space. The beast was easily 5 meters long, covered in dark armored plates that shimmered even in death. Deep wounds covered its body. Another Ravager had killed it, probably fighting over territory. "Commander Gren, I found a dead Ravager," Daehyun reported. "Adult female." "Understood," the reptilian commander replied. "Documented and returned to base." Daehyun moved closer, taking pictures with his scanner. That's when he heard it, a small sound barely louder than a whisper. It was coming from behind the dead creature. He walked around the massive corpse and found a nest made of torn plants and mud. Inside was a tiny creature no bigger than his fist. It was a baby Ravager. The little thing was covered in soft, dark plates that glowed faintly with blue light. It was injured with a cut across its side and it looked starved. "I found something," Daehyun said quietly. "There's a baby." The radio exploded with voices. "Do not touch it," Gren ordered immediately. "Ravagers are extremely dangerous even as infants." "It's dying," Daehyun said, kneeling beside the nest. The baby creature looked up at him with large, dark eyes. It made a weak chirping sound. "Then let nature take its course," another voice said. It was Velthar, the insectoid scientist from the station. "Ravagers cannot be tamed or domesticated. Every attempt has failed. It will grow and become a threat." Daehyun reached out slowly. The baby didn't pull away. It was too weak. He carefully lifted it, and the creature felt light in his hands, trembling. "I'm bringing it back," he said firmly. "That is against protocol," Gren said. "I cannot allow a dangerous predator on this station." "It's just a baby," Daehyun argued. "It didn't choose to be born as a Ravager. Right now it's just a scared, hurt animal that needs help." There was a long silence on the radio. Finally, Gren spoke. "You may bring it to the medical bay, but it stays in full containment. Any sign of aggression and we terminate it immediately. Understood?" "Understood," Daehyun said. He looked down at the tiny creature in his hands. "I'm going to call you Bomb. It means spring in my language. A new beginning." Back at the station, the other researchers gathered around the containment cell where Bomb lay on a medical table. The baby Ravager was so small and weak that it didn't seem dangerous at all. But everyone kept their distance. Velthar's compound eyes studied the creature carefully. "Interesting. The bioluminescence is a defensive mechanism usually, but it seems to react to emotional states as well. Can you help it?" Daehyun asked. "I can treat the wound and provide nutrients," Velthar said, "but I must advise against attachment. When this creature grows, its instincts will override any temporary docility. Ravagers are apex predators. They are aggressive by nature." "We don't know that for sure," Daehyun said. "Has anyone ever tried raising one from birth?" "No," Velthar admitted. "Because it would be foolish." Hana stood near the door, her hand resting on her weapon. "I think Daehyun has a point. We study alien life, right? This is a chance to learn something new." "It is a chance to get killed," Gren said, entering the medical bay. The reptilian commander looked at Bomb with his cold, analytical eyes. "But I gave my word." "You may keep it, Daehyun. Document everything. If this succeeds, it could be valuable research. If it fails, you will be the first to know." That night, Daehyun stayed in the medical bay long after everyone else left. The baby Ravager was struggling. Its breathing was shallow, and the blue glow from its plates was getting dimmer. He pulled a chair close to the containment cell and opened a small panel that allowed him to reach inside. Bomb didn't move when his hand entered. Daehyun gently touched the creature's head. "Hey there, little one," he said softly in Korean. "Gwainkkanya. 내가 여기 있어. It's okay. I'm here." The creature's eyes opened slightly. Daehyun had prepared a mixture of nutrients that Velthar said might work. He dipped his finger in it and brought it close to Bomb's mouth. The baby creature was too weak to eat on its own. Slowly, carefully, Dae-hyun fed the tiny ravager. It took nearly an hour. His arm grew tired from reaching through the panel, but he didn't stop. Drop by drop, he gave Bomb the food it needed. In the monitoring room, Velthar and Gren watched through the cameras. Illogical, Velthar said. He wastes hours on a creature that will likely die anyway, and if it lives, it will become a threat. Gren was quiet for a moment, watching the human sit patiently with the predator. Perhaps. But humans are strange. They form attachments to things that seem impossible. Sometimes it gets them killed. But sometimes, he paused, sometimes it leads to discoveries we never imagined. As the station's artificial night cycle continued, Dae-hyun stayed awake. He talked to Bomb in quiet Korean, telling the creature about Earth, about his home, about anything he could think of. The baby Ravager's glow grew a little brighter. Its breathing became steadier. Just before dawn, Bomb moved for the first time on its own. The tiny creature shifted its head and pressed against Dae-hyun's hand. A soft chirping sound came from its throat. Dae-hyun smiled, exhausted but happy. That's right. You're going to be okay. I promise. In the monitoring room, Velthar made a note in the research log. Subject survived the night. Human refused to leave its side. Attachment behavior confirmed. This will be interesting to observe. The experiment had begun. None of them knew yet that this small act of compassion would change everything they understood about both Ravagers and humanity itself. 3 months had passed since Dae-hyun found Bomb in the wilderness. The tiny creature that once fit in his hands was now the size of a large dog. The baby Ravager had grown fast, its armored plates thickening and hardening with each passing week. The blue bioluminescence had become brighter, creating beautiful patterns across its dark body. But something unexpected was happening. Something that made the alien researchers question everything they knew about Ravagers. Bomb showed no aggression at all. Every morning, Dae-hyun entered the containment area, and Bomb would rush to greet him. The creature made soft chirping sounds, rubbing its armored head against his legs like an earth cat. When Dae-hyun sat down to work, Bomb would lie beside him, watching everything he did with curious eyes. This is unprecedented, Velthar said, reviewing the data on his screen. The insectoid scientist had spent weeks analyzing every moment of interaction between the human and the Ravager. By this age, wild Ravagers show extreme territorial behavior and aggression toward any living creature. This one acts like a domesticated pet. Tae-min, a young human researcher who had recently joined the team, looked through the observation window at Dae-hyun and Bomb. Maybe we were wrong about them. Maybe they're only aggressive because of how they grow up in the wild. An interesting theory. Velthar clicked his mandibles thoughtfully, but one that contradicts decades of research. In the containment area, Dae-hyun was teaching Bomb simple commands. He held up his hand. Stay, he said clearly. Bomb stopped moving and sat down, its tail curling around its body. The creature's eyes never left Dae-hyun's face. Good, Dae-hyun said, smiling. He pulled out a piece of synthesized meat from his pouch and tossed it to Bomb. The Ravager caught it in its mouth and ate happily, its plates glowing brighter with what could only be described as pleasure. Hana entered the containment area carrying a datapad. She had been skeptical at first, but now she spent almost as much time with Bomb as Dae-hyun did. The security officer had become protective of both of them. The corporate office sent another message, she said quietly. They want to transfer Bomb to their main research facility. Dae-hyun's expression hardened. Absolutely not. I agree, Hana said. But they're putting pressure on Commander Gren. They think a tame Ravager could be useful for military applications or bioengineering. There's a lot of money in this, Dae-hyun. Bomb sensed the tension in Dae-hyun's voice. The creature moved closer, pressing against his side and making a low, concerned sound. Dae-hyun placed his hand on Bomb's head. They're not taking you anywhere. You're not a weapon. You're not a tool. What are you then? Hana asked, looking at the Ravager. It was a genuine question. What was Bomb becoming? That night, a violent storm hit Corvallis 7. The wind howled like a living thing and lightning cracked across the dark sky. The research station shook with each thunderblast. Dae-hyun was in his quarters trying to sleep when suddenly all the lights went out. The backup generators kicked in, but they only powered essential systems. The containment fields were not essential. An alarm blared through the station. Containment breach in Section C, the automated voice announced. All personnel evacuate to safe zones. Daehyun's heart dropped. Section C was where they kept Bomb. He grabbed his emergency light and ran into the corridor. Other researchers were heading the opposite direction, toward the safe zones. Hana grabbed his arm as he passed. "Where are you going?" she demanded. "Bomb is loose," he said. "I need to find it before something happens." "Daehyun, it's a Ravager. This might be when its true nature shows." "No," he said firmly. "I know Bomb. Trust me." He pulled away and ran toward Section C. The corridors were dark, lit only by emergency lights that cast red shadows everywhere. He could hear things breaking, the sound of metal scraping against metal. "Bomb," he called out. "Bomb, where are you?" A piece of ceiling panel crashed down in front of him. Daehyun jumped back just in time. The storm was tearing the station apart. He climbed over the debris and kept moving. In the common area, he found Velthar and Gren coordinating the evacuation. Both of them looked shocked to see him. "You should be in a safe zone," Gren said sharply. "The Ravager is loose," Velthar added. "In a state of stress and confusion, it may revert to predatory instincts." "Where's Taemin?" Daehyun asked suddenly. "He was doing late-night research in Section D." Gren checked his datapad. His eyes widened. "Section D has structural damage. The door controls are offline. He's trapped." Another explosion of thunder shook the building. More ceiling panels fell. Daehyun made a decision and ran toward Section D. "Daehyun, stop!" Hana yelled, running after him. When they reached Section D, they found the door crushed inward. Something large and powerful had forced its way through. Inside the lab, they found Taemin pinned under a fallen support beam. He was conscious but in pain, and standing over him was Bomb. The young Ravager had grown even more in the past week. In the dim red light, it looked terrifying. Its armored plates were fully extended, making it appear larger. Its claws were out, sharp and deadly. Any other person would have seen a monster. But Daehyun saw something else. He saw Bomb's protective stance. The creature wasn't threatening Taemin. It was guarding him. "Bomb," Daehyun said softly, stepping into the room. "Good job finding him." "I'm here now." The Ravager turned its head toward Daehyun. The blue glow from its plates pulsed rapidly. It made a sound something between a chirp and a growl. It was clearly distressed. Daehyun moved slowly closer. Hana stood at the door, her weapon ready but not aimed. She was ready to act if needed, but something told her to wait. "It's okay," Daehyun said in Korean. "Gwaengkeung. 잘했어. It's okay. You did well." He knelt beside Taemin and examined the beam. It was too heavy for one person to lift. But then Bomb moved forward. The Ravager positioned itself beside the beam and with surprising strength lifted it enough for Daehyun to pull Taemin free. Taemin gasped in relief. "It saved me," he said in wonder. When the ceiling collapsed, it broke through the door and held the beam up. "It's been standing there for 10 minutes, keeping me safe." Hana lowered her weapon completely. She spoke into her radio. "Commander Gren, you need to see this." Within the hour, the storm passed and power was restored. Taemin was treated in the medical bay for his injuries. He would recover fully. Everyone gathered to watch the security footage of what had happened. The video showed Bomb in its containment cell when the power failed. The creature immediately started searching for something. It broke through the door, not in rage, but with purpose. It moved through the station, checking each room. When it found Taemin trapped, it didn't hesitate. It used its strength to help. Velthar watched the video 3 times. "This changes everything," he said quietly. "This level of problem-solving, empathy, and protective behavior suggests intelligence far beyond what we attributed to this species." Commander Gren stood with his arms crossed. "The corporate office will see this video. They will want the creature even more now." "Then we don't let them have it," Hana said firmly. Daehyun sat with Bomb in the containment area, which had been quickly repaired. The Ravager was exhausted from its efforts but stayed close to him. Its glow had returned to a steady, calm rhythm. "You're full of surprises," Daehyun said, scratching behind Bomb's head where the armor plates were softer. "You're not a monster at all, are you? You never were." Bomb made a soft, content sound and closed its eyes. In that moment, the bond between human and Ravager had become something unbreakable, and the rest of the galaxy was about to find out what that meant. 6 months after Daehyun found Bomb in the wilderness, the young Ravager had grown into something magnificent and terrifying. It was now the size of a small vehicle, its armored body powerful enough to tear through metal doors. The blue bioluminescence had spread across its entire form, creating patterns that shifted with its moods. Every alien on the station knew one simple fact. Bomb could kill them all if it wanted to, but it never did. Dae-hyun sat in the expanded containment area with Bomb, showing the creature a series of cards with different symbols: a circle, a square, a triangle, and more complex patterns. Each symbol represented something different: food, water, danger, friend, home. Which one means safe? Dae-hyun asked. Bomb studied the cards carefully. Then it reached out with one clawed hand and tapped the card with a green circle. Correct. Good, Dae-hyun said, smiling. Which one means hungry? Again, Bomb selected the right card. Red square. The creature had learned over 50 different symbols, and it could use them to communicate basic needs and emotions. In the observation room, Velthar was recording everything with growing excitement. The insectoid scientist had spent months studying Bomb's development, and each day brought new discoveries. This is remarkable, Velthar said to Taemin, who was helping with the research. The Ravager is demonstrating cognitive abilities we never imagined. Pattern recognition, symbol association, emotional intelligence. This is not simple animal behavior. What if they're not animals at all? Taemin suggested. What if Ravagers are actually intelligent beings, but their environment makes them aggressive? Think about it. They grow up alone, fighting for survival from birth. They never learn cooperation or communication because they never have anyone to teach them. Velthar's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. That would mean we have been classifying an intelligent species as dangerous fauna for decades. The implications are enormous. The door opened and Commander Gren entered with a tall, elegant alien covered in silver feathers. This was Ambassador Krill, a representative from the Galactic Council. He had come to assess the situation with Bomb personally. Show me this tame predator, Krill said, his voice sharp with skepticism. I want to see what has caused such controversy. They went down to the containment area. Dae-hyun was now teaching Bomb to arrange symbols in sequences. The Ravager was carefully placing cards in order: food, then water, then rest. It was showing Dae-hyun its daily routine. Impressive trick, Krill said coldly. But training an animal to respond to symbols does not prove intelligence. Earth dogs can learn similar tasks. Dae-hyun looked up at the ambassador. This isn't a trick. Bomb understands these concepts. Watch. He turned to Bomb and spoke clearly. Bomb, show the ambassador what makes you happy. The Ravager looked at the symbols spread across the floor. It thought for a moment, then carefully selected 3 cards and arranged them. Friend, home, Dae-hyun. The last card was a special one that Dae-hyun had made with his own picture on it. Krill's feathers ruffled. It could be random selection. Then explain this, Velthar said. He pulled up data on a screen. I have recorded 3,000 different interactions. Bomb correctly uses symbols 97% of the time. It creates new combinations to express complex ideas. Yesterday, when a pipe burst and water flooded its area, it used the symbols for danger and water together to alert us. That is creative problem solving. It also shows emotional responses consistent with higher intelligence, Taemin added. Grief when Dae-hyun is absent for long periods. Joy at reunion. Concern for injured team members. These are not simple instincts. Krill looked down at Bomb with narrowed eyes. Even if this one creature shows unusual behavior, it does not represent the entire species. It is an exception, not the rule. Maybe, Hana said, entering the room. Or maybe it's proof that Ravagers need proper care to develop their intelligence. Just like how human children raised in isolation showed developmental problems. Before Krill could respond, a message came through on Gren's communicator. The commander's expression darkened as he read it. Corporate enforcement is on their way, Gren said quietly. They have authorization to take the Ravager by force. They will arrive in 4 hours. Dae-hyun stood up quickly. No, we need more time. The research isn't complete. The corporation has legal rights, Krill said. They funded this station. They can claim research materials as they see fit. Bomb is not a material, Dae-hyun said angrily. It's a living, thinking being. That has not been proven to the satisfaction of the Galactic Council, Krill replied. Until it is, the creature has no legal protections. The next few hours were tense. Dae-hyun spent every moment with Bomb, trying to teach the creature more, trying to prove what he knew in his heart. But how do you prove someone thinks and feels? How do you show that behind the armored exterior and dangerous claws was a person? Hana stood guard at the door, her weapon ready. She had made it clear she would not let them take Bomb without a fight. Velthar worked frantically on his report. trying to compile all the data into something that would convince the council. But science moved slowly, and they were running out of time. As the sun set on Corvallis 7, Daehyun sat alone with Bomb in the containment area. The massive Ravager lay beside him, its head resting on his lap. The blue glow of its armor pulsed slowly, matching the rhythm of his heartbeat. "They want to take you away," Daehyun said softly in Korean. "They want to put you in a cage and study you like an object. They want to see if they can make weapons from your DNA or train others like you to fight." Bomb made a low, sad sound. The creature pressed closer to him. "I won't let them hurt you," Daehyun promised. "I don't know how yet, but I'll find a way." Above them, through the clear ceiling panels, the stars of the galaxy shone cold and distant. Out there, powerful forces were moving. Ships were coming. Decisions were being made. And none of them cared about one human and one Ravager who had found something precious in each other. Ambassador Krill stood in the observation room, watching the human and the creature below. Despite his skepticism, something about the scene made him pause. He had traveled across the galaxy, met thousands of species, seen countless wonders, but this was different. "Do you believe it is intelligent?" Gren asked quietly. Krill was silent for a long moment. "I believe the human thinks it is, and I believe he would die to protect it. But belief and proof are different things." "Sometimes," Velthar said, his compound eyes reflecting the blue glow from below, "the most important truths are the ones we feel before we can prove them." Down in the containment area, Daehyun continued talking to Bomb, telling the creature stories about Earth, about the ocean and forests, about places where things could live without fear. The Ravager listened as it always did, understanding more than anyone except Daehyun could imagine. Outside, the first stars of the evening grew brighter, and somewhere in that darkness ships were coming closer. The peaceful days were about to end. The storm that had passed 3 months ago was nothing compared to what was coming. But neither Daehyun nor Bomb knew that yet. For now, they had this moment, a human and a creature that the galaxy called a monster, sitting together under alien stars, proving that sometimes the strongest bonds form in the most unlikely places, and sometimes those bonds are worth fighting for. The corporate ships arrived just after dawn. 3 large vessels landed near the research station, and armed soldiers in black armor poured out. They carried weapons designed to take down megafauna, along with heavy containment equipment that looked like a prison on wheels. Daehyun watched from the observation deck as they set up their operation. His hands were clenched into fists. Beside him stood Hana, Velthar, and Timon. They all looked worried. "This is wrong," Timon said quietly. "Bomb isn't dangerous." "Try telling them that," Hana muttered. Her hand rested on her weapon, but they all knew she couldn't fight an entire military force. Commander Gren entered the room with several corporate officials and Ambassador Krill. The lead official, a tall alien with gray skin and cold eyes, stepped forward. "I am Director Karn," he said. "We are here to collect research specimen designation Ravager 7 for transfer to our main facility. You will cooperate fully." "That specimen has a name," Daehyun said, his voice tight with anger. "Its name is Bomb, and it's not property." "According to galactic law, it is exactly that," Karn replied. "Non-sentient creatures discovered during corporate-funded research belong to the corporation. This discussion is over. We have evidence suggesting the creature may be sentient," Velthar said quickly. "We request more time to complete our research." Karn looked at the insectoid scientist with barely hidden contempt. "Your evidence is circumstantial at best. We have our own researchers who will study the creature properly. Now, where is it being kept?" "Section C," Gren said reluctantly. "But I must protest this action. The creature has shown remarkable behavior that deserves further study in its current environment." "Your protest is noted and dismissed," Karn said. He turned to his soldiers. "Prepare the tranquilizers. Heavy dose. We take no chances." Daehyun stepped forward. "You can't just drug it. That could cause serious harm. Bomb's physiology is unique. The standard doses could kill it." "Then we will learn from that," Karn said coldly. "Either way, the creature comes with us." 2 corporate soldiers grabbed Daehyun's arms. "You are to remain in your quarters until the operation is complete," one of them said. "No." Daehyun struggled against them. "Let me go." "You don't understand. Bomb will be scared. Let me explain to it what's happening." "The creature doesn't understand anything," Karn said. It's an animal. They dragged Daehyun away. Hana moved to help him, but more soldiers blocked her path. Velthar and Taemin could only watch helplessly as their friend was forced into his quarters and the door was locked. Inside his room, Daehyun pounded on the door. "Please, you're making a mistake." But no one answered. Ji-won, the communications officer, managed to establish a private channel to Daehyun's room a few minutes later. "I'm patching you into the security feed," she said quickly. "I can't stop them, but you should see what's happening." The screen in Daehyun's room lit up, showing the containment area. Bomb was pacing nervously. The Ravager knew something was wrong. Its bioluminescence was flickering rapidly, showing distress. A dozen soldiers entered the area, weapons raised. Behind them came technicians with the tranquilizer equipment. "Target acquired," one soldier said. "Preparing to sedate." Bomb saw the strangers and backed away. The creature made a sound, a questioning chirp. It was looking for Daehyun. Where was its friend? Why were these others here? "Fire," Karn ordered. 3 tranquilizer darts hit Bomb in rapid succession. The creature roared in pain and confusion. It stumbled, trying to stay standing. Its armor plates extended fully in a defensive posture. "It's not going down," a soldier said nervously. "Fire again." More darts hit Bomb. The chemicals were too much, too fast. The Ravager's body started to convulse. It was in agony. In his quarters, Daehyun watched in horror. No. "They're overdosing it!" Bomb tried to run but crashed into a wall. The creature was panicking now, thrashing wildly. Equipment broke under its weight. An alarm began blaring. "Increase the dose," Karn ordered. "Sir, that could be fatal," a technician warned. "I said increase it." In its pain and terror, Bomb finally collapsed. The soldiers moved in with containment collars and chains. They worked quickly, binding the unconscious Ravager with heavy restraints. "Load it onto the transport," Karn ordered. "We leave in 10 minutes. They began dragging Bomb toward the loading bay. The massive creature left a trail on the floor, its body limp and unresponsive. But they had made a critical mistake. They had given Bomb too much tranquilizer too fast, and Ravager physiology was different from other species. The chemicals burned through its system quicker than expected. Halfway to the transport, Bomb's eyes opened. The creature woke to a nightmare. It was bound in chains, surrounded by strangers, and in terrible pain. Every instinct, every wild part of its nature that had been sleeping peacefully for months, suddenly roared to life. Bomb exploded into action. The chains snapped like thread. Soldiers flew through the air as the Ravager thrashed. Its claws tore through metal. Its tail smashed equipment. This was what everyone had feared. This was the monster they always expected. Weapons fired, but Bomb was moving too fast. Bullets hit its armor and bounced off. The creature was completely out of control, driven mad by drugs and fear and pain. "Fall back," someone screamed. "It's gone berserk." The loading bay became a war zone. Bomb destroyed everything in its path. Blood appeared on its hide where bullets had found weak spots. The creature was wounded, but that only made it more dangerous. "I told you," Ambassador Krill said, watching from a safe distance. "These creatures cannot be tamed. They are monsters by nature." In his quarters, Daehyun heard the sounds of destruction. Ji-won's voice came through the speaker. "Daehyun, I'm overriding your door lock. You need to get out of the station." "It's not safe." "No," Daehyun said. "I'm going to the loading bay." "That's suicide. Bomb has gone wild." "It's attacking everyone!" "Because they heard it," Daehyun said. "Because it's scared and in pain." "I can help, but you can't. It won't recognize you. It's in pure survival mode now." Daehyun looked at the screen one more time. He saw Bomb covered in wounds, surrounded by soldiers, trapped and terrified. He saw the creature that had saved Taemin, that had learned symbols to communicate, that had pressed its head against his chest so many times. "I have to try," he said. He ran out of his quarters. Hana was fighting with corporate soldiers, trying to reach the loading bay. She saw Daehyun and broke away. "Together?" she asked. "Together," he confirmed. They fought their way through the chaos. Taemin joined them, using his access codes to open sealed doors. They could hear Bomb's roars echoing through the station. The sound was full of pain and rage and something else, something that might have been a desperate call. When they reached the loading bay, they found destruction. Equipment was shattered. Walls were cracked. And in the center of it all stood Bomb, surrounded by frightened soldiers with their weapons aimed. The Ravager was bleeding from multiple wounds. Its bioluminescence was flickering erratically. Its eyes were wild and unfocused. "Daehyun, don't!" Gren's voice came through the speakers. It's too dangerous. But Daehyun was already walking forward. He pushed past the soldiers who were too shocked to stop him. He walked toward the creature that everyone called a monster. Bomb, he said softly. The Ravager's head snapped toward him. For a moment, Daehyun saw nothing but fury in those eyes. Then he spoke again in Korean, the same words he had used that very first night. 괜찮아. 내가 여기 있어. It's okay. I'm here. Time seemed to stop in the destroyed loading bay. Everyone watched as Daehyun walked slowly toward the wounded Ravager. Weapons were still aimed at Bomb, fingers on triggers ready to fire if the creature made one wrong move. Bomb was trembling, its massive body tense with pain and confusion. Blood dripped from wounds in its armor. The tranquilizers had burned through its system, leaving it disoriented. Its claws were extended, ready to strike. Daehyun, stop, Karn's voice came through a speaker. You're going to get yourself killed. But Daehyun kept walking. He held his hands out, showing he had no weapons. He spoke in a gentle voice, mixing Korean with the sounds that Bomb understood. It's me, he said. Remember? I'm your friend. Singu. Friend. Bomb's eyes focused on him. The creature's bioluminescence flickered, trying to shift from the angry red it had become. But the pain was too much. Bomb growled, a sound of warning. I know you're hurt, Daehyun continued, taking another slow step. I know you're scared. They hurt you and I'm sorry. I should have protected you better. He was close enough now that Bomb could reach him with one swipe. Everyone in the loading bay held their breath. Hana's hand gripped her weapon so tight her knuckles were white. Felthar's mandibles were frozen mid-click. Do you remember the first night? Daehyun asked softly. You were so small, so hurt. I stayed with you. I fed you. I told you stories about my home. He took another step. I promised you'd be okay. Bomb made a sound, something between a growl and a whimper. The creature was fighting against its own instincts, against the pain and fear that told it to attack anything close. That's right, Daehyun said, recognizing the sound. You remember. 괜찮아. It's okay. He was right in front of Bomb now. Close enough to touch. One of the soldiers behind him whispered urgently into his radio. We have a clear shot. Should we take it? Hold your fire, Commander Gren ordered, his voice tense. Daehyun reached out slowly and placed his hand on Bomb's head, right where the armor was softer. The same place he had touched 1,000 times before. I'm here, he said. 내가 여기 있어. For a long moment nothing happened. Then Bomb's bioluminescence began to change. The angry red faded, replaced by the gentle blue glow that Daehyun knew so well. The creature's claws retracted. Its aggressive posture relaxed, and then Bomb collapsed. The massive Ravager fell forward, and Daehyun caught its head in his arms. The creature was exhausted, wounded, and overwhelmed. It pressed against Daehyun and made soft, pained sounds. I've got you, Daehyun whispered, tears streaming down his face. I've got you. He looked up at the soldiers still surrounding them. Get a medical team, now. And if anyone tries to hurt Bomb again, they'll have to go through me first. Hana lowered her weapon and ran forward. Taemin followed. Together, they formed a protective circle around Daehyun and Bomb. Director Karn pushed through the crowd, his face red with anger. This is unacceptable. That creature is dangerous. It must be destroyed immediately. You made it dangerous, Velthar said, his voice cold. You drugged it, hurt it, and terrified it. Any creature would react the same way. It attacked my soldiers. After your soldiers attacked it first, Hana said firmly. This entire disaster is your fault. Ambassador Krill had been watching everything from a safe distance. Now he moved closer, his feathered face thoughtful. He studied Bomb, who was still pressed against Daehyun, making soft sounds. Remarkable, Krill said quietly. What is? Karn demanded. It controlled itself, Krill said. In extreme pain, drugged, wounded, and terrified, it still recognized this human. It still chose not to harm him. The ambassador's eyes widened slightly. That level of self-control and recognition requires significant cognitive ability. It's trained behavior, Karn insisted. No training can overcome that much pain and fear, Velthar said. He pulled out his data pad and began recording. Ambassador, I believe we are witnessing something unprecedented. Bomb shifted slightly and everyone tensed. But the creature was only trying to get more comfortable. It looked up at Daehyun with tired eyes and made a sound, a soft chirping noise that everyone had heard before. Then it made another sound. Different. Deliberate. The loading bay fell completely silent. No one moved. No one breathed. Bomb tried again, its vocal cords struggling to form sounds they were never designed to make. Hyun. The name was broken and strange, but it was unmistakable. The creature had spoken. Recording this, Velthar said, his voice shaking with excitement. All cameras confirm. The Ravager just spoke a human word, a name. Daehyun stared at Bomb in shock. You learned my name, he whispered. You've been trying to say it. Daehyun, Bomb said again, more clearly this time. The creature pressed closer. Hurt, scared. Taemin made a sound of amazement. It's using words to describe emotional states. That's linguistic communication. That's proof of sentience. Ambassador Krill's expression had completely changed. All his skepticism was gone. Get me a direct line to the Galactic Council immediately. This proves nothing, Karn said, but his voice lacked confidence now. It proves everything, Krill said sharply. Language is the marker of sentience. This creature just demonstrated deliberate communication. Under galactic law, it is now protected. One word doesn't mean friend, Bomb said, looking at Daehyun. Then the creature turned its head to look at Hana. Friend. Then Taemin. Friend. The Ravager looked at Karn and the corporate soldiers. Its bioluminescence turned slightly darker. Not friend. Several soldiers dropped their weapons in shock. Karn took a step backward, his confidence shattered. The creature is classifying individuals based on behavior toward it, Velthar said, recording everything frantically. It understands social relationships. It has a concept of trust and danger. This is advanced cognitive function. Over the next hour, medical teams treated Bomb's wounds while Daehyun stayed by the creature's side. Ambassador Krill sent immediate reports to the Galactic Council with full video evidence. The footage of Bomb speaking spread across the galactic network faster than light travel. By evening, the decision came down from the Council. Ravagers were granted provisional sentient status pending further study. All corporate claims on Bomb were nullified. Director Karn and his team were ordered to leave Corvallis 7 immediately. As the corporate ships departed, Daehyun sat with Bomb in the medical bay. The creature was bandaged but would heal completely. Its bioluminescence pulsed steadily, showing contentment. You saved yourself, Daehyun said, by speaking. By showing them what you really are. Learned, Bomb said slowly. The words were getting clearer. From Daehyun, watched, listened. You've been learning to talk this whole time? Hard, Bomb admitted. Mouth wrong shape. But wanted. Wanted tell Daehyun. Thank you. Love you. Daehyun felt tears in his eyes again. He hugged the massive creature's head. I love you too. Bomb. Velthar entered the medical bay with Gran and Krill. The insectoid scientist looked happier than anyone had ever seen him. The Council has approved a new initiative, Velthar announced. We are authorized to find other Ravagers and attempt communication. If successful, they will be reclassified as a developing sentient species. Which means protected status, Gran added. No more hunting. No more exploitation. Corvallis 7 becomes a protected world. Ambassador Krill stepped forward. I must apologize, he said to Daehyun. I doubted you. I thought you were being sentimental and foolish. But you saw the truth before any of us. You looked at a creature everyone called a monster and saw a person. I just saw someone who needed help, Daehyun said simply. That is what makes your species remarkable, Krill said. Humans have this strange ability to form connections across impossible divides. You show compassion where others see only danger. The galaxy needs more of that. 6 months later, Daehyun and Bomb sat on a hillside on Corvallis 7. The planet was very different now. Research teams from multiple species worked peacefully across the landscape. In the distance, other Ravagers could be seen, learning to communicate with the researchers assigned to them. Bomb's vocabulary had grown significantly. The creature could now hold simple conversations, though its voice remained rough and strange. Home better now, Bomb said, looking across the landscape. Before, always alone. Always fighting. Now have friends. Have family. It was always your home, Daehyun said. You just needed someone to see you for who you really are. What I am? Bomb asked. You're Bomb, Daehyun said, smiling. You're my friend. You're proof that understanding matters more than fear. Down in the valley, a young Ravager was learning its first words from Taemin. Another was playing with Hana, who had become surprisingly good at Ravager communication. Velthar was recording everything, his life's greatest work unfolding before him. The galaxy had changed. One human's refusal to give up on a dying creature had revealed an entire intelligent species. Corporations and governments had to rewrite their laws. Scientists had to reconsider their assumptions, and everyone had to face an uncomfortable truth. How many other species had they dismissed as monsters? Bomb looked at Daehyun with its large, intelligent eyes. Scared still sometimes. Remember bad day. Remember pain. That's okay, Daehyun said. Bad memories don't go away. But we can make better ones, Bomb agreed. Together, Daehyun confirmed. As the sun set over Corvallis 7, turning the sky shades of purple and gold,